photographer in New York. I mainly work as a contractually with New York Times, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. I work based on the story mainly. Like if somebody has any editor reach me out, hey, we have a story to follow. Would you be interested in this story or portrait? And that's something that I always work with. That's how I've been going for last 3 or 4 years here, and so far it's been going well. And let me I can go through my website and share some work that I did previously. Let me check where I can share this screen with. Hold on. Can you see my screen?
No, unfortunately not.
Just give this. Sorry, guys.
If he can't do it, Evan, do you like if it's can we share it instead of Amir? I mean, if that's okay.
Yeah. I'm just checking it's not happening. Yeah, sure. That'll be I think fine.
Yeah.
Great. I will go ahead and share it, and you can just tell me where to go.
Sorry.
No worries.
No worries.
Okay. So you can go in the portfolio section.
Sure.
And the first one, the night when New York Times fell alive. So this is the work. This one of my most favorite work I did from last year. So what New York Times did, they assigned 40 photographers around the 5 boroughs to send them like 5 boroughs like for 3 days, just to photograph what's happening after the pandemic. Like New York just reopened and what it looked like. New York just reopened after 2 years almost, like and they sent like 40 photographers to the 5 boroughs, and they just asked me to be yourself and like don't restrict yourself with anything. And it was like one of the most amazing assignment to have as a photographer. We just be you and like photograph whatever you feel like. And you can see the photos if you could scroll down. These are from a skate festival or something going on, roller skate. Then in the night, all these bars are open for the first time. It opened for till 4 a.m. People are crowded. So it was one of the nicest assignment I did, which I personally one of my favorite assignment from the last year. So this is one kind of I think personally I think my strength is in this kind of assignment, which is like more spontaneous, like it's free, like not any restriction, and like I think I'm good at those kind of assignments. like there's no limitation. You can see in the photos, like it just like from the streets or any in the cafe or bars.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So this is one assignment called like, it's almost documentary, but it's like more independent. It's up to the photographer what they want to do. Now, if you go to the second on the link, in-person graduation. So this is also about another story about after 2 years, the graduation became in person for the first time after the COVID. So in this, like the editor pitched me out. There is a story about how all this like graduation ceremony gonna come together in real life again. So we need like send you for 3 days in 3 different boroughs. So I just like travel with the reporter to different like school and college, like from preschool, like kid school to university. So it's more like a documentary approach, like total documentary, nothing like portrait or anything. It's fully documentary, how it's look like and how the event is unfolding after the COVID thing and how they're celebrating each and every one, like with a mask on or not. And I think it's published on the like their national section for I think in the paper too. So it's just like 3 days event like I covered. And if you go now to the Hasina, the down the Hasina, a daughter tale. So, okay, and so before this is the one story I worked back home before moving to New York, before having any formal study or anything before anything. So I worked with a director. That's how I actually know Sadia also. We work with the same director called Piplu. So this is about a story about our current prime minister and her family have a big tragedy on. So it was a documentary going on. So the director asked me like to shoot like as the way I want, like I'm behind the scene or like the way I feel. He didn't have any restriction on me too. And it was like a narrative, like you have to read the story to understand what is going on in the photos. Like this, like if you start in this photo have a meaning behind this photo. This is the stair where the prime minister's father got assassinated. So this is very meaningful because of the story. Like she's doing normal, like probably I don't know what she was doing from a tree. You can go keep sliding. Yeah, that's her father behind her, and she's the prime minister of current prime minister of Bangladesh. So it's like following her, trailing her for all her tours and trips where we're going, and it's kind of like shadowing her over the time, like doing everything, most of this, like everything, documenting everything. Also, I had a like very human approach like to that, because most of the time, if you see in our side of the politics, in the South Asian politics, we barely have any big politician being documented the way the Western politics does, because Western politics have a like very good documentation, like like all these magazines send you out to this work with the like politicians, like they make a really good documentary on them, and all the politician also knows here like a visual image is a very strong tool for their public image. So they're always being very friendly with photographers. Like I'm already covered like a couple of senators. Like they already know that how photography is very important to them. But in this in our side of the world, like we barely have any good documentation of any politicians. So in this story, I was like trying to be more human approach, like how she as a person rather than like how she as a politician or like as prime minister. But it's hard to get rid of that image either. this is their house or home where her whole family got assassinated. So this is one story I personally I like it. But it was way back home, like in 2016. So I didn't have that much of formal idea and formal studies. Probably if I had this opportunity again, probably I would do very differently than this one.
Amir, if it's okay if I ask a question.
Yeah.
So coming from Bangladesh to USA, and this is also for people who wants to move abroad and do photography, you know, like they have interest in traveling and they want to do photography while doing it. What would be your suggestion to them? That's one question. And there's also a question in the chat. How do you address matters of permission for up close photos when it is possible to clearly see faces, especially children?
So first question, see, a lot of people start photography as a hobby, right? Like they say like, oh, I'm doing a photography. It's like the scene is out there, very nice. For me, I started I mainly studied pharmacy back home. Like I studied like 5 years of like full pharmacy studies, and then I decided like literally in the meantime while I was studying pharmacy, I really decided that I'm gonna be filmmaker or photographer. I made a plan, and it was not like any accident that I got in. I just don't want it to be anything else. And so I wanted to do work as a full-time from the beginning of when I started photography. I didn't want to do anything else. So what I see in most of the people when they reach out, like I want to do I want to do in photography, they already have another job. They want to do it on the side. Like, oh, I'm going to do photography on the side. I feel like you cannot have that. Like you have to fully like 100% be on that photography thing. Like whatever you do, you have to be 100%. Like, and now if it's asked, like if anybody want to do like, oh, I want to do photography and I want to go ahead in my life doing photography, my first suggestion would be like, get started in like probably with a workshop first. Like there's a lot of workshop happen all the time. Really good, like there's numerous like really good workshop that can like lead you to good career path. If you feel like, and as early as possible, like if you feel like you're like 20 and like you want to do photography, it's better time to like study, like go for bachelor study. There is like photography studies you can do. And then like once you're in school or something, you might figure out like how the industry works. Once you know that, and then you're good to go. And yes, it's one of the most competitive in like industry probably. Like I never seen there's like thousand photographers in New York. Like if you think like probably 100,000 photographers here right now. And it's very tough like to think like, oh, it's going to be too much. But you have to believe in yourself, like what are you gonna create? Like, you know, like even like I know there's like such a tough competition, like such a huge competition out there. But in deep inside, I feel that okay, I'm gonna make something different, it's gonna work. And you have to believe in that process, and like you have to go take time, and nothing gonna come like so fast, and like it's gonna take really long time like to get to the point like that you see your work as a body of work rather than like one session I have for the, if anybody start, don't go for like single photos and like quick anything, like how can I say, like very short like attention, or don't do work for a very short span of like attention and like finance. Because what's gonna happen, like you're gonna like you're gonna see like suddenly a photo got hit, like, or it got viral, or it got so many likes for it, and you think, okay, this is probably my way to do it. But this is not. If you want to see yourself in a longer term of like as a photographer or photojournalist or any other form of photography, you have to think as a body of work, like how as a mature person, is this body of the work have to be a mature person so that you can see yourself in longer run. Like you have to like take you have to work on a longer term story. Like if you can like see yourself, you are fitting this, like if I can follow this whole story or not, instead of like only single photo. So just
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was also saying, like, if let's say somebody has gotten those workshops and they have some sort of like level of expertise and they want to do international photography, like so going to with an NGO maybe in a different country and do things, or maybe go and study in Prague, like I know many people from our country, they go there and study. Like what would your suggestion to be them, like what are the ways, like you moved from Bangladesh to New York, right? Like
Yeah.
you got some sort of scholarship, you found your ways to come here. So like what would be your suggestion to people who wants to like now expand their photographic skills? And because there are so many people in this organization who are interested in the international aspect, if it makes sense.
Okay.
If that makes sense, Amir.
Yeah, no. So if whoever have experience, so I would ask like check just try to figure out what kind of photography you like. There's like a lot of branches out there. There's fashion photography, there's like photojournalism, there's like visual, there's like only documentary, there is only portrait. So try to figure out what kind of photography you do. Then there's a lot of school based on like on your photography that you like to do. Like just guess, FIT have a good photography program like for fashion photographers. Like if you're into fashion photography, right? Fashion Institute of Technology have like good school, like good program for if you want to be photographer, or SBA. But if you really want to be in photojournalist, or you want to be like, oh, I want to work on documentary, or I want to work in, I see myself as the editorial world, I want to work with like New York Times or like this kind of journals, like then you should look up to like, there's like Ohio photojournalism, Ohio University have a good photojournalism course. Then ICP, the one I went to, is really good for like photojournalism. So try to figure out which kind of photography you want to do. Then reach out to the department of the like that university, particular university, that you should write directly. That's what I did personally. What I did, I just like wrote my personal letter, like, hey, this is my situation. It's not gonna be easy to get in, or like finance and everything. I had to write letter. So based on your situation, write the personal letter to the each department director. You might there should be an option for you. And if you find the right university for your kind of photography you want to do, I think there will be like just prepare your portfolio and send your material and then write the letter. I'm pretty sure things are gonna work out that way.
When you were young, were there some photographers that you looked up to or inspired you to want to become a photographer yourself?
No, so basically I actually started photography pretty late. I started like around 23rd when I was 23. Now I'm 30. So I was actually more inspired by movies than like photography. That's how I got it started. Like I watched a lot of movies from international movies. Like then the movie scene from the it was like more fascinating to me, like how the cinematographer did the lighting and framing. That's how I got into photography. So I was always like looking forward to the cinematographers rather than photographers actually. Mostly the movies, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Hey, what is the second question again? About the privacy. Okay. So about the second question, like how so every country you have to look at like how you have to read the social structure of every country when you're going to take photos. Because in our country, if you go to Bangladesh, it would be so easy to photograph people because they see cameras, like people everywhere, and they're like, okay, somebody taking photos. Somebody might get offended, but most of the time it's gonna be so easy to take photos. Like there should be a legal like barrier, but there is none. And you can like take photos of when the pretty much like people are really intrusive and like, because I think we are so overwhelmed with people is all around us, so we are very much comfortable around the cameras. Or there's so many if you ever go to like Bangladesh, like, you're gonna see like people are really excited to see the camera, which is like different. But if you come to here in USA, if you go to the park, you might not able to take photos of children, like if they're there with their parents. And anyway, if just children by herself or himself, like you cannot take photos. I mean, there should be somebody might ask you why you're taking the photos, right? But the way you should do it, you just go there and ask the parents like, hey, I'm from this, I'm doing, you just introduce yourself, who you are, and what is the purpose behind the photo. And they should allow you to, if they don't allow you, just respect that. And other than then, you'll be fine to take photos. But there's a general laws, like what I know personally, that if you're in the street, in a public space, you literally allowed, you just pretty much allowed to take photos like anybody. But and now then you are asking about taking portraits of somebody, right? Like taking all the way, like, so that need like personal permission. Like, oh, if you're coming close to me and like, why are you taking the photo? Somebody might ask if they're not comfortable with it. And just introduce yourself, like, hey, I'm a street photographer. I do this kind of photography. Like, let's can I take a photo of you? I just go and ask the question. If sometimes I see like is a very interesting person out there with a beautiful outfit or nice hair, I just go quickly in the street and take photos. Unless if they feel like they get offended, then I just like, hey, I feel like it's a nice like outfit of you and it's very interesting to me. I just took a photo. If they feel uncomfortable, I just delete the photo or I just don't take the photo anymore.
Yeah, I think there's one more question.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like Bruno here is retired, continues to do photography as a hobby. You know, very, very fond of photography. And if someone is interested in publishing some of their work, is there any outlets that you recommend for doing that kind of thing?
And that's also, I need to know like what kind of photography the person do. Mm-hmm. And because there's a lot of kind of photo, like if you, it's just like dance, just guess it's like photo about dancing, right? There's a lot of dance magazine out there, and you can reach out to the like any new like individual magazines, like, and so again there is like a lot of editor work on different section, like just there's like a sports editor like who only take care of sport related images, and then there is a like people in the entertainment like who only cover the entertainment photos. Like this, the editor job is only hire the photographer who cover entertainment photos, right? There's an only editor who only cover the metropolitan section of the New York. So every editor have a different, and then now if you want to really get a photo published, like I have to see like what kind of photography is that. Then you find out niche like this kind of, yes, every magazine have their section. Like you can literally reach out to the editors, like I want to get these are my photos, as I want to get it published. Like you have to like reach out to the editor. If the editor feel like the photo is very interesting and something that can be fit in their like outlet, they'll definitely do it.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. So they followed up abstract, social issues, refugees, conflict and war, animals. Yeah. Oh, and then asking if you might be able to be willing to be in touch with this individual.
Which one? I didn't see any message.
Oh, sorry. It was sent directly to me.
Okay. Have you ever done conflict? I didn't do conflict. Yes, I did once in back in home when the Rohingya refugee was happening. When the like in 2017 actually, I was covering, but I was covering for myself mostly. Like I was just covering the human situation, what's happening there. So it was like more like they came to Bangladesh as a refuge, and I just covered how the whole scene in the side of the Bangladesh. It was not in between like actual conflict zone. So I don't know if it's under that. But my main goal was covering how the whole situation was in Bangladesh side when they moved on the other side of Bangladesh, and like how their human condition, and I took photos of the people with the wounded, and yes, a little bit of that, but no, I didn't do anything direct conflict photography yet. I'm interested in the question raised in currently. If you have any question related to the Ukraine, you can ask. Like, I don't understand. I'm interested. Question raised. I just need explanation of this question. I'm interested in the question raised in currently in Ukraine. Is it something, any specific topic about it? Katie? Oh. Okay, so this is something very like when, like, how can I say, for some on the brutality and how when to put. So see, when you cover like some kind of this kind of situation, like what happening right now in the Ukraine, you need to understand what is the goal of the like when you there's a lot of amazing journalists covering the Ukraine war right now in it's a huge risk. So their main goal is there as a messenger, right? Their goal is to send the message what's happening. So in the meantime, they're not gonna. I don't think so. If I was there, my goal was how grave is the situation to show the world, right? And I don't think so. There is a like how if it's a like how I will as a photojournalist, my job would be like be truthful as much as like 100% being truth. Like there shouldn't be anything like the way. Yes, there should be like it should be my personally that what I would do as humanly as possible to show them like like people is the most vulnerable state right now. If you look at the Ukrainian people, like they're the most vulnerable and they're more weak, and then there's a point where I think your camera language come to a point like how you show the people. Is it you going to show how you're gonna if you're gonna point the camera as like are they weak or you're in a powerful position as you having the camera. So that's why like it's very much important to look how you're showing the photos. I mean, it's come from the experience, like how you deal. So there's like just one example. So when I was covering in Rohingya camp, so at that time I was not very knowledgeable, or I wouldn't say I was not that smart. What I did, I was taking photos from everyone from like this, like down. Like I was taking photos of kids, refugees. Like literally, I'm looking at the down, like taking photos from up, right? So I didn't. Later, I realized that was a one kind of wrong way to show. Just guess, like they're already in a like very weak, vulnerable position, and I was like, I couldn't care because I'm a Bangladeshi and I was like in a privileged position than them, so I didn't actually care. So now you have to understand, like this is what I later learned. Like you have to be very respectful about like person you're photographing in certain kind of situation like that, and you know how you're representing the people. And on this brutality, like there's nothing like so all the photo you're seeing from the Ukraine, such brutal images or everything, these are truth. These are like nothing like fiction or nothing like fake. These are all truth. So there's no limitation of how I'm gonna show brutality or when it's actually happening in real time, and it have to be shown that way. Whatever you're seeing is actually right.
Can you talk a little bit about what, as a photographer, what makes New York City special, just in terms of the the diversity of people and just how vibrant of a character New York City is in photography?
So New York is like such an amazing city to talk. Like as a photographer, it's like heaven in a way. Every borough, every neighborhood has a different kind of characters. Like if you go to like Brooklyn, it's huge, and every borough of like neighborhood of the Brooklyn is different kind of characters. Then if you come to Manhattan, the way people dress up by the neighborhood is different. Like if you come to the Soho, it's like fully like you're gonna see like very young and like fashionable people around. It's a different kind of like totally the visual language is different. Then you come to the Upper West Side, you see like very like probably wealthy, rich, old, and different neighborhood, and their characters and like it's different. And then you come to the Times Square, it's like total all people like from tourists and everything. So you see all this variation is there. Then you go to the Queens, you see mix of people like everywhere. Just get in the subway, you see like everybody is different. Like, and as a photographer, you might find it very, very like fascinating to take just photograph like whatever happening in the parks. Like, I don't think so. Is there any other place like New York to just be as a photographer, like such a resourceful, like if you want to learn photography, just one by yourself, you want to practice, everything is there, everything. Someone said like, oh, he's in New York or he or she's in New York and like couldn't figure out life. I feel like it's just lazy. Like there's a lot of things to offer, a lot of things to do. Like everything's happening at the same time. You just feel like you're missing out a lot if you don't go out because just in the parks, just in the cafe, everything's happening all the time. Like something very, it's a very interesting city. Like to as a filmmaker or as a photographer, there's a lot material you can work with, a lot of things you can work with, definitely. And you're not gonna find anything like that I'm in any other city.
Awesome, thank you. Mary asks what kind of projects you're working on currently.
Right now, I'm working with like a long-term project with New York Times. I cannot say that what I'm working on. It's like very much like but it's gonna be 8 to 9 months over the whole year. We might work on it. It's still deciding on like how we're gonna go forward with this story. But sorry, I can't like tell what I'm working on. But yeah, that's the only thing. And in the meantime, I'm having already have some assignment on the like next week. I have a assignment for Wall Street Journal about the inflation. So I have to like take photos of like how the inflation look like, or might take some portrait of some people's. So that's few things I'm on the working right now.
Thank you. If anybody has any questions that they would like to ask verbally, I didn't just invite you to unmute yourself and feel free to go ahead and ask those.
It's Katie. And I just got back real late from New York yesterday. I would like to give him a heads up. It is one of the most fascinating cities in the universe to walk. And subways are one thing and they're interesting, but I agree. I walked. This is the first time I've actually had a lot of time to walk through Central Park. And I think you could probably spend your life photographing Central Park in and of itself. It's beautiful. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Katie. Are there? Can you talk about? I noticed that you certainly use both color and black and white. Can you talk about a decision that what factors you consider when choosing whether to publish in photo or excuse me in color or black and white, or is that based on whoever you're working for and what they're looking for, or can you talk about that personal decision?
So the whole thing about the color and black and white is totally a creative choice. Like, but sometimes it could be a very strategic choice too, and I don't think so. I have any work that is actually like very strategic. It's very much of like, I just felt like, oh, this could fit like very good in like as a black and white. So if you go to like my website right now and go to the portrait section, if you go to the portrait section, if anybody can share my website, I can show you something. And go to the portrait. Sorry, portrait, yes. So in if you just look at the, like this, what is his name? Oh my God. What is his director name? Oh my God, I had to forget his name. Hold on.
You're talking Quentin Tarantino or?
Yes, yeah. So basically it was an assignment for like Bloomberg. So it was a very general scene and the lighting and everything. So to choosing this as a black and white, it was for me was very technical. Like it's not like more than also like, you know, like it's kind of like his character is like the way he looked at the camera. It was like more like precise for the photo, and the lighting situation in the environment, everything was, for me, it felt like it was not that strong. And I feel like when I made it black and white, I think you just only look at it in his eyes and like only is like the how he's looking. So it make it more like stronger in that, for me, in that case. And yes, if you go back again in the Hasina, the daughter tale, and the reason I made it like black and white because I didn't have one, because it's also like the whole story talking about the past history, about the whole, our whole memory from the memory, right? And if I put the color on the photos, it's can, you know, like sometimes the color could be distracting. Like it might take the attention from the like what the actual story is because of the like lot of color what is happening. So I might lose the uniformity. So that's why I choose the color, black and white here, so that it stay very like one particular like color, and like also like you can focus on the people who is in the photo. So it felt like more human, like closer to the like human story to me than the. That's why I choose it black and white. There's no specific like otherwise, if this is the only story probably I did as a full as a black and white, I kept it as a black and white. There is so many people like actually shoot only in black and white. They don't want to shoot anything else. There's a lot of really amazing people only shoot in black and white. So that's what they love, how they do. So and sometimes if I shoot black and white, it's more technical purpose. Like I want to be light and contrast to be on that ratio so that I can have a really beautiful black and white. Other than that, like, there's nothing like. I also like based on the story, also your medium, like why is the photo is going? Is it going to the paper or is it going to the social media, or is it just going on a website? You have to choose the color on black and white based on that too. It's like basically a purpose. Like it's very much of creative choice. At the same time, it's like serve a purpose too. You just cannot make everything black and white. You cannot just make everything like if you want to make color, but you cannot make everything black and white though. You have to be very precise about what you're making color black and white.
Awesome, thank you.
And in general, like if anybody wants to study, like really think like, oh, I want to study photography and go abroad, just make a plan. Like you have to give yourself some time. Just see like what kind of photography if you can figure out what kind of photography you want to do, that's the best decision you can do. Like that's the best. Like then it'd be easy to narrow down which school you want to go. Because in the beginning when I was applying, I didn't know what kind of photography I want to do. I was naturally good at something, some documentary or probably something, but I really didn't know what kind of photography I would ended up doing. So I just chose one creative program and in my school for 1 year. And then I realized that these some of the things I can do, but I wish somebody who before could have like guided me, like, oh, you are good at that, and just do it and go for that school. So apply. There's a lot of school in New York, like SBA, NYU, then FIT, Parsons School of Design in New York, New Rochelle University in RIT. There's a lot of school around. In US, there's a lot, and then in Europe there is also few, and so you can like really choose like any school if you want to study. Then, and also once you get into school, I think you can sense the framework, how the industry works. Once you get the sense of the work, it's easier to break in. And before you even like, it might not, in the beginning, it might not feel like, oh, nothing's happening, everything is like in the misplace. I think you have to believe it, at least like it's gonna work out later. Otherwise, like in the beginning, it's always feel like, oh my God, it's gonna go so bad.
We do have a question. If you have any, if you have been involved in any like photography contests, Samantha is asking. She does photography herself, and if there are any contests or any recommendations
Yes.
to start in that regard.
So there is like another like side of the world where people only do like photography for photo contest, award. That's the people actually do, like, which is personally I don't like do it anymore. In the beginning, like there's a time like when I started photography, like like you all like, oh, we want some attention, like fame or something. In the beginning, I felt like I just have some like award and everything, and I got some awards, but believe me, that didn't change my career. Nothing. It didn't help anything. It's just like some piece of like they gave me. It's fine. It's good to have your name out there. Yes, there is like some Sony World Photography Awards is big. Then World Press Photo is there, and there's like if you search by every city have a photo festival or not. Most of the big city have their own photo festival, like Turkey photo, Istanbul Photo Festival, and Dhaka have like in Bangladesh there's like a Chobi Mela, which is like a big festival. So if there's like if you search literally search a Google like best photo festival or photo contest in the world, like you might get a one list, and you can really get into the deep dive. And if you do your own research, you will find like a bunch of them. But yeah, Sony World Photography Awards is one of the biggest one you can really look up to, and it's free to enter and like check what category you fit in, just apply. I have not been submitted it to anywhere in like ages. Like in the beginning, it felt like yes, once you do some work, you want to get accreditation and like get like some award. It feel good, but it doesn't take you anywhere, honestly.
Thank you. Do you have any personal goals, whether it's parts of the world that you would like to work in, whether it's a certain publication that you would like to be featured in? Can you talk about things that you look forward to in the future as potentially being able to do?
Yeah. So what I figured, I always been working on like very open environment, like something that is open out there, or I think I think I'm good at those kind of open environment scene and documentary thing. I think I found my little bit of weakness in like some kind of enclosed environment or something like studio environment, which I feel like I'm weak on those sides. See, like I've been checking on like I have not produced any work inside the studio or something like that. Very like artificial light yet, like that much. I didn't practice that much yet. So which I feel like I'm on weak on those side, and I want to really improve in 1 year on those section. I want to work more for magazines than newspapers. I want to work like because newspaper then again you have to think like magazine and newspaper, their visual language is different. The way they work is different. When you work for a magazine, you have more liberty. Like you can do more because like when you're working for a newspaper or like New Times or like Bloomberg, you are working for certain story that have to have some limitation. You cannot. It's because you are giving information to the people. It have to be relevant to the story. We just cannot do everything. Like you have to be respectful to the story, and the image have to be like respectful to the story too. So you cannot just like make anything out of it. Like it cannot happen because you are like giving people like when they open the paper or something, they're reading the photos, also reading the article, right? So you have to be very relevant and make the strong image based out of whatever information you have. But for the magazine, it's the very more freedom you have, more like depend on the what kind of magazine also, like not like Time magazine also like amazing magazine like to work with. I didn't work yet. So I have some goals, like I want to work more in the magazines and different kind of like challenging work, like in the studio or some other big thing I want to do. Like it's like, I still need to learn more, a lot of things I need to learn, but it's gonna take time, like probably another year or two. I think somebody opened what's his name? I think Michael showed his hand probably.
Hi, thanks so much. Thank you for sharing with us. This is really fascinating. My questions on your professional, but maybe personal viewpoint. The last couple of years has been difficult, and I imagine for the photographers around the world. How did it change you? Have you got inspiration from it? How do you look at things going forward, given that that scenario? Has it helped? Has it been more of a challenge? And has it inspired you? And thank you.
Mostly inspiring. It's very the scene I see in forward in my life, like the way in forward I look myself to go forward with photography is very inspiring to me. Like I the way it's changed in last 1 or 2 years, the work I've been doing, I can see that I can do work on some bigger stories or bigger something more impactful maybe someday, but I'm not sure when. But for me it's very inspiring, like to see like all these photographers I know, all these like colleagues I have or friends, they're doing like amazing work and like all the time, and I see, oh, they're doing such a good work, I can do that too. So it's always like pushing yourself, like, oh, let's do it, I will do it too. I can see, like, just guess, like I saw like one of the people I know who covered for Time magazine. His photos in the Time magazine cover, right? So it's like, oh, he's doing it. Like, why we can do that too? Like, I can do that too. Like, it's just like, it is inspiring that way. For me, it's like I'm just seeing the other people, like friends and colleagues who's working. They're the one who's actually really like pushing me, like really inspiring me. Like, okay, that's amazing. They're doing this work, and it's you're part of this industry, and like you want to do better every day. Like you just like also not only do better every day, the industry is so challenging and so competitive. I feel like sometimes just I have to prove myself every day. It's feel like that way, like it's just like wake. But I would suggest not to think that way, that you have to prove yourself every day. It's more like just get if you get the idea of yourself who you are, it's get more easier slowly. Like you just more focus on yourself rather than other people. But I feel like at the moment I'm in a like kind of like just making my way through. So it feel like a little bit stressful or pressure. Like there's a lot of like I have to prove myself. I feel like that way, but it's not. I don't take it as negatively or anything. Just like I feel like, okay, that's putting me in the edge. I'll do it. I'll try to myself do something better. Oh, that's Sadia asked a question like, no, actually, like I don't have. I really don't look up to any photographer. Like I never been inspired by any photographer that like really like. There's a lot of good photographers. I see just like I just take a little bit of from a little bit of like work, like inspiration from everybody's photos. Like, but yes, I have a lot cinematographers or filmmakers that I look up to. Like I look up to more of the like filmmaking community, like how they're working and how their things, like what they're doing. I have a lot of cinematographers in my list. Like I've been constantly seeing their work, what kind of work they're doing. So not in the photography world, like in photography world, like like it's almost feel like I don't know. I'm being in the photography world right now. I'm seeing that everybody doing some great work. For me, it's feel like I can do that too. It's just like I want to learn that and I want to do it. So I don't really look up to anybody. Like I just like I want to be better of that. But yes, I look up to some cinematographers, really some film directors and cinematographers. I'm really looking up to them. Like I just want to be like them in a way. Like not like them, just I want the what kind of work they do, the quality of work they do. I want to be like that. The camera I use right now is Sony A7 III and A7 IV. It's like Sony mirrorless camera. My go-to lens is 50 mm. Like it's just like my safe lens. Like I see everything like 50. So then again, like you cannot choose lens every time. You have to choose your lens based on your assignment. You have to be careful about what kind of lens you're using, because you have to be. There have to be a lot of variety of photos. Also, like some lens is specific for some assignment based on your work style and what kind of story you're covering. Like if you're doing only a portrait of somebody, 50 mm would be fine anywhere. Then you're going to shoot, yes, and like a sports event, like a sports shoot, you need to have like a zoom lens on it. You cannot just have it with the 50.
Thank you so much. We have just a couple more minutes. So if anyone has any final questions, feel free to either submit them in the chat or come on and ask them. Certainly appreciate your time today, Amir. This is a fascinating conversation, and look forward to continuing to follow your career and see where it takes you. Do you get back to Bangladesh very often?
So I haven't been home in like more than 3 years now. I supposed to go back because of COVID and everything. The visa became a little bit like tricky. So I'm extending I'm currently on O1 visa, like the artist visa. I don't know if you know it. So I'm going to extend that visa in a month or so. So once I get that, then I'll go.
Okay. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Amir, for taking the time to lead us through this today, and also for all of our participation in the discussion. It was wonderful. We appreciate your time and your willingness to join us for this conversation. This event was recorded, so we will be posting it to your YouTube channel. So if you have anybody who is interested in photography, a career in it, or just interested in listening to a fascinating discussion, please share that link. I'll be sharing that with everyone tomorrow. Please stay with us the rest of the day to participate in the full Global Horizons schedule. I'm going to go ahead and post the schedule in the chat right now. Please join us if you can for the remainder of the day. Please visit our website, irckc.org, to see our full upcoming calendar, and also, as I mentioned, head to our YouTube channel for past recordings of programs. Again, thank you so much, Amir. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Yes,
Yep.
you good. Everybody have a good day. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Amir.
Bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.